Welcome to the Modern Medicine Movement Podcast. Woo! Dr. Thomas Hemingway here. Super pumped, super grateful. Oh, so glad to be back. Hope you guys are doing well. Another week, another day. It's just awesome. Loving it. Oh my gosh, guys. What a crazy time we live in, but it is beautiful nonetheless, and it is what we make of it because we get to choose. One of my favorite movies, I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, La Vita è Bella, something like that. Life is Beautiful. And I think that was, I want to say Italian. And I think I'm getting a little rusty on my Italiano, although I can say things like buongiorno and grazie and all that fun stuff, buonasera. But I miss it. I think Italian is just probably one of the most colorful languages out there. But that movie I just referenced, La Vita è Bella, Life is Beautiful. What a fabulous movie. And despite all the chaos, all the just difficulty, the unrest, the differences in views, opinions, and all of that stuff and people that I feel like, though we are all human, sometimes we forget that humanness. So maybe today just think about how life is beautiful. Because I really think it is. Despite all the chaos out there, it is what we make of it. As Tony Robbins always likes to say, what's bad or what's wrong with the world is always available. But so is what's good. The good things of life are also always available, and we get to pick. So I choose good. I choose happy. I choose positive. As you know, the glass is always half full with me, and just another fun show for you today. Just stuff I've been thinking about a little bit more, and I apologize. Last week's show kind of got curtailed a little bit. There was so much more I wanted to share, and I just didn't want to give you too much of that science and too much of the, details and get lost in the proverbial, trees amongst the forest or the weeds, so to speak. I just kind of gave you some bullet points, and maybe I didn't dive in as deep enough. And so today I got a few more things I just can't wait to share that I think are so applicable, so useful, because it affects all of the things that we put in, on, and around our bodies, and it affects our health at the end of the day. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But firstly, I wanted to just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for sharing the show, because really the sharing is how we get the word out. And we have thousands of viewers, listeners, and I hope, can one day reach millions, because this message can be helpful, can be useful for the masses. So please continue to share, especially on Apple Podcasts. That's really the best way to get the word out. And I want to just pay tribute to one of our recent reviewers, and Miss Gigi, I'm assuming Gigi of 3, almost 4 in parentheses, wrote in another 5-star review. And I'll just go ahead and quote. It says, "I met Brooke and you through our mutual business, and your knowledge helps me understand how our bodies work, and how it has all different aspects. I've been now 6 years in the business and had no idea that vitamin D3 actually needs magnesium." Shout out to my previous podcast talking about how magnesium and D3 go together. And if you are low on your magnesium, you can't absorb all the vitamin D that you need. So magnesium is crucial. Once again, my favorite mineral. And she goes along to say, "Your podcasts make it so easy to pick your brain. Thank you so much. If you're blessed, be a blessing, and you are a blessing to me." Heart. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Gigi of 3 and almost 4. I really appreciate the review. And if you haven't done so already, please jump on over to Apple Podcasts. Click, scroll all the way down where you see those 5 stars. Click on the one farthest to the right, and then the little link that has a little box with a pencil coming out the top that says write a review. And just tell me what you're loving, what you're enjoying. And I will pick in the next 10 reviews that come in. I promised you I would give one of you guys a free course, and I'm going to do it. We just need a couple more reviews in there, and I will pick one of you to receive my $200 course for free that can change your health and change your life. So write a review. Please do that, and I'm going to pick the winner real soon. But I want to get a few more reviews out there, and write a review to increase your odds. So anyway, another thing too I hope you guys are taking advantage of is my free Facebook group, Modern Medicine Movement Podcast Health and Wellness Facebook group. A great place to just be able to be in the know as far as these health-minded topics, to hear when the newest podcasts are coming out, participate in some live coaching, teaching, sharing that I do regularly, and just to stay abreast of what's going on in my health world and what can benefit you and the masses. I'm going to be soon releasing, oh my gosh, another course. I'm almost done with another course. It's on the mighty metabolism and how you can just rev up, pump up, and get that thing so efficient, working well, fine-tuned. You will have the energy of your dreams. So look for that, Mighty Metabolism, a new course coming out soon. And if you haven't gotten my original health course yet, my natural weight loss health course, I'm going to give you one more week to get it half price, $100 off my course, still available. And I'll do it for another week, and I'll put the link in the show notes. So hop on over there to mastermind.com. You can look up just my last name, Hemingway, and you'll find it. Natural weight loss, all right? And health like you've never seen or had before. It's going to be amazing to jump on there, because I'm going to be starting up a VIP special awesomeness community where you will get access to me several times a month, live, asking questions and so on. I will be available weekly for office hours. You're going to get extra just material, pearls, all kinds of feedback, and it's going to be a super duper low price of $27 a month. So half the price of many of these other influencers that are out there with their VIP groups, and it's coming from a physician, somebody in the know, somebody who's been in this field for 2 decades. So can't wait to share that with you. Hop on over to my Modern Medicine Health and Wellness Facebook group, Modern Medicine Movement, or email me at modernmedicinemovementpodcast@gmail.com to find out all the details and how to get signed up, because it's going to be awesome. Anyway, today's show, I can't wait to share this with you, because last week we talked a little bit about sunscreen, a little bit about skin cancer, a little bit about some things to avoid, and we just barely scratched the surface. And I really think this topic is so fascinating, because whether we recognize it, whether we think about it or not, all of us tend to be applying to our skin, to our bodies. We tend to apply many different substances, some of which, in fact, many of which can be hazardous and dangerous to our health, and we may not even know it. And sadly, the Food and Drug Administration really has not updated its regulations, guidelines with respect to this in well over 50 years, and almost anything goes. It's pretty sad. It's pretty messed up, and there's almost no scrutiny, almost no real governance on this whole topic of skincare, cosmetics. You know, sunscreen is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's almost no governance over this. The FDA has done very little to limit the poisons that we are succumbing to, that we are applying to ourselves without even knowing it. And so there are some cool organizations out there. One of them is called the Environmental Working Group, or EWG. If you haven't already heard about them, I spoke briefly to them on my last show, and I think they are great. They are really trying to help and educate, really, and just share the knowledge, share just some information about different cosmetics, skincare, sunscreens, etc., even foods. They're getting into it. They have a new app, an EWG app. I actually just downloaded it this week. It's pretty great. You can check it out on Apple, iTunes or whatever, wherever you get your apps. You can just type in EWG and you'll be able to find their app. And it's pretty cool. You can actually type in there the name of, say, a sunscreen or a cosmetic or whatever, and it'll not only tell you the ingredients, but it'll give it a rating. 1 being green for go, it's safe, down to 5, really not safe. And you can take a look at pretty much any product, not 100% of them, but literally thousands and thousands of products they have reviewed and have delineated what's in them, what could be dangerous in them. It's actually really a cool little app. It's free, So go for it. The price of free. I love it. Check it out. EWG, sign up for their newsletter, sign up for their advocacy. There's actually an advocacy thing going on right now where you can help them, sort of put pressure on the FDA for, trying to get products to pass some remedial requirements, get them safer for us so we don't hurt ourselves or our children or those we love without even knowing it. So EWG.org, I don't get anything from them. I'm just trying to push the advocacy, push the information, the knowledge, get it out there, because the more you know, the better you can be and live and all of that good stuff. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about this notion of the skin, right? The skin is really one of our biggest organs, and depending on, what kind of measurement you're looking at, the size of it, surface area, whatever, it's pretty darn big. It tends to be, by most accounts, our biggest organ and probably the one we least think about. And the skin is super important for our protection, for our hydration, so many things, for our vitamin D production, which is stinking awesomeness. And I will put in the show notes this really cool study on sunlight and vitamin D, because this is one of the key functions of our skin, and it happens right there, skin deep, and provides us with one of the most important vitamins known to man that can literally help us avoid many cancers. It can help us fight infection. It can help us avoid chronic diseases like Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, lots of the inflammatory diseases. It's been shown to improve or reduce your risk of them if you can get your vitamin D levels up. Also, it can help with your mood, right? How awesome is it to go outside on a bright sunny day and just soak it in and enjoy it, to be in that bright light of awesomeness, the beauty of the sun. And it's just awesomeness. And it's kind of a little bit of a teeter-totter here and a Goldilocks thing, right? We don't want to be like out 8 hours in the sunshine with no protection and get sunburned, which can put us at risk for certain skin cancers and things. We just want to get enough, but not overdo it. But yet we don't want to get none, because it's awesome. It's awesome for the mind, the body, the soul, and the immune system, and so many things. So this article is super cool. It's from the Journal of the American College of Nutrition in 2015. It just really talks all about the awesomeness of vitamin D and how we can get that naturally from the sunshine, and how it's been used really for millennia, right? We didn't really call it vitamin D. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what was happening, but we actually had a word for its therapy. In other words, the therapy of the sunshine, right? Sunshine. It is called heliotherapy, in case you're wondering, heliotherapy. And it was used for the treatment of all sorts of things, including infectious disease like tuberculosis. And at that time, they just didn't really know why it was working, but they knew that it helped, because sunlight increases your vitamin D, which increases your body's ability to fight infection, to avoid chronic disease, cancers, inflammations, all these things. And plus the awesome stuff like it elevates your mood, because it helps to produce the happy hormones, the noradrenalines, those endorphins and kelphins from vitamin D in the sun. And all of your cells literally in the body can help with this. And so super important. Nearly all cells have vitamin D receptors. If you want to know more on the nitty gritty, check out my podcast specifically on vitamin D, but check out this article as well, because it is super easy to comprehend, understand, and see all of these numerous benefits that a lot of us are missing out on because we're afraid of it. We're afraid of the sunshine. Don't be afraid. Just be prepared. Be like me. Go out there with a hat, a shirt, and then maybe take the shirt off for 10 or 15 minutes and soak up those awesome rays, and then just put the shirt back on. I mean, I'm as light-skinned, or haole as they say in Hawaii, as anybody, and I don't want to get too much, but I definitely want to get some, because it's awesome. So as we think about our vitamin D in the sunshine, we often think about things that can limit our ability to get sunburn. And besides the obvious physical blockers like a hat, an umbrella, a t-shirt, whatever, there's the sunscreens, which we talked about last week. And I think the problem, besides the fact that a lot of the sunscreens have chemicals that are not awesome in there, a lot of it is sort of misguided, leading in the sense that, you see these numbers on there that say SPF 100 or SPF 75, and they kind of lead you into believing that, oh my gosh, I can spend so much more time in the sun and not have to worry. And then you're getting too much exposure, too much risk. And whether it be a sunscreen that's even very good to begin with, it can increase your risk of UVA or UVB damage, which can cause, the UVA can attribute to cancer down the road, as well as the UVB for the sunburn, which hopefully you don't get because it's painful, it's annoying. And I've seen many people with really bad sunburns that have actually, believe it or not, come into the ER, that emergency place, the ER, just for a sunburn because they can't sleep. It's painful. We don't want that. But we also don't want to be sloshing on a bunch of nasty chemicals on our body either, which can have horrendous side effects. So SPF is a little bit misleading. I would say anything above 30 is fine, but you have to, if you're going to be out all day, just bring a shirt, bring a long sleeve rash guard. Do like I do with my kids. I buy them literally a full bodysuit. It's hilarious, but you know what? If anybody has or has had little kids knows, if they're on the beach and they're playing in the sand, like a full body rash guard is awesome for the sun protection, but also it keeps the sand out of all of those places where it's not that awesome. So these are awesome things. We should make these body suits for adults, like the body rash guard. I'd buy one. I mean, I have a long sleeve rash guard already, and I wear pretty long surf trunks or board shorts that go past my knees. And so most of my body is covered, but I usually wear a hat as well. Even while surfing, my kids kind of make fun of me because I'm like the only dude with a hat on. But hey, whatever I can do to protect myself, I'm in for it. So sunscreens can be misleading. They can lead us to spend too much time in the sun because we sort of overemphasize this SPF factor, which is not very reliable, especially anything over 50. Like, it's all the same. Like, you can't really get much better than that. And it's hard to really be consistent. When they've tested these products, most of them don't live up to, the hype or their, SPF rating. In fact, the majority of sunscreens which have been looked at, over 50%, actually don't meet the criteria of the SPF factor that they publish on the label, because guess what? Nobody's really checking. Like I said at the outset, the FDA is not really looking into this. And so I would just look for anything above an SPF of 30. It's probably all the same at that point. But if you're going to spend all day in the sun, honestly, just get yourself a long sleeve shirt, a long sleeve rash guard, a big, broad brimmed, lifeguard style hat, and just cover up, get your vitamin D, in the 10, 15 minutes with your shirt off, but don't leave your shirt off all day. Nobody wants to get a sunburn and be in pain or have skin cancer down the road. But you definitely want to get some sunshine, but don't have too much reliance on these sunscreen products, many of which are just not that awesome. So besides the fact that they're misleading, and both the UVA and UVB can both cause skin cancer, and the B is usually the one that causes the sunburn. So you want to have something that is broad spectrum, which means that it covers UVA and UVB. And if they don't use that buzzword broad spectrum, probably not going to be an awesome sunscreen anyway. I prefer the mineral-based, primarily zinc. Zinc is awesome. It's a natural element that we all need anyway. So if we were to accidentally eat it, which is sort of the ultimate test, right? If you can take the skincare products, cosmetics, whatever, and safely eat them, then it's probably safe to put on your skin, because there's a lot of them that have tons of toxic chemicals in them that you absolutely would not want to be putting in your mouth. So why put them on your skin? So zinc is my preferred. Titanium dioxide is also fine. All the benzones, although some of them are still kind of accepted, I just try to avoid them. I mean, they're just not awesome. They can get into the skin because the skin is a natural opening, if you will, to get into our bloodstream. That's why they have skin patches of all sorts of things. You guys may have been on a boat one time and put a little patch behind your ear of scopolamine to prevent that seasickness. That's an antihistamine which is absorbed through the skin. Or maybe you've had some other skin patch, like a nicotine patch or an estrogen patch or a pain medicine patch, like fentanyl patch or whatever. But lots of things can be put on the skin. In the ER, we put this medicine called nitroglycerin on the skin all the time that lowers blood pressure. There's another one called clonidine. There's all sorts of stuff that can be placed on the skin. And why the skin? Because it's readily absorbed. The skin is an entrance to too many things and also to the bad things like these dangerous chemicals in a lot of the sunscreen. So be careful what you put on your skin. So if you didn't hear my intro, check out the ewg.org website, download their free app, try to avoid the harmful chemicals like the benzones, the phthalates, the parabens, all of that junk, because they can affect your body adversely and you should try to avoid it. So I prefer the mineral sunscreens. Like I said, the zinc, the titanium, the physical ones, if you will, and even better than that, a long sleeve shirt, a rash guard, and all of that good stuff. And so that's what I prefer. If you are going to stay out a long time, you want to apply and reapply often, because that stuff wears off after about a half an hour, especially if you're sweating or you're in the water. Remember that in kids, it's really important to avoid a lot of sun activity, or especially you want to avoid sunburn. So I just buy these total body rash guard suits for my young kids, or a long sleeve rash guard for them, etc. A hat, and my little kids, you've probably seen pictures, but when they were little, I always had one of these buckle on hats because they don't like to keep them on. So they would be buckled on and they would be in their hats, their long sleeve rash guards, etc. But they would not get sunburn. And another kind of interesting, environmentally conscious thing out there is that if the sunscreen is reef, like the coral reef, if it's reef friendly, it's more likely going to be people friendly. In the same way that the reef is alive, obviously so are we, and so is our skin. And so we should also look for a sunscreen that is reef friendly. And we can, that information is pretty easy to find. Check out the website, ewg.org. There's a few others that look at that as well. And it's always, in fact, some places that are pretty advanced this way. Hawaii has banned some of the sunscreens that contain, like the oxybenzones, for example, that bleach and kill the coral reefs. And not only do they do that to the coral reefs, but to your own body, they are not good. Remember how they can cause endocrine disruption, which means hormone disruption. They can mess with your estrogen or your testosterone. Dudes, they can cause low testosterone just from the improper sunscreens that have these benzones in them. So I would just avoid all of them. Technically speaking, the oxybenzones are sort of like the worst and at the top of the list, but why put any benzone chemical on your body, even if it's might be safe? Why not just put a natural thing like a rash guard, like a shirt, or zinc, in a sunscreen? And there's a couple of brands that I use that I trust. The mineral ones especially tend to be on my top 10 list. Things like the Think Sport and the mineral based ones are there. And I do use them in my children and on my face occasionally when I can't be protected with just a hat, or I'm going to be on the water and getting the reflections or so on. I try to put some of those on even if I'm fully clothed, because I don't want any significant sunburn. I certainly don't want skin cancer. So be protected, be protected. And so with that, I just wanted to kind of go into how this correlates as well with cosmetics and with skincare, because the same sorts of rules apply. We should avoid, putting toxins on our body, right? Because if they're on our skin is literally the superhighway to the rest of our body. It's where everything gets absorbed. It gets into those capillary beds that are in the lower level of the skin, just below what's called the dermis. At the tip top, you have the epidermis, right? The stratum corneum and all that. This kind of that protective layer. And then deeper, you have the collagen, the epidermis. And then the dermis is sort of that deeper layer. And just below that are all the capillaries, the blood vessels, which literally is where those chemicals get soaked in, or those medication patches get absorbed into that, and they go straight into your blood. So you don't want to have toxins in your blood. And so you've heard me talk about, my 5-ingredient rule for things that we eat. Well, I also like to use the 5-ingredient rule for the things we put on our body. Like if it has much more than 5 ingredients and you don't know what they are, can't pronounce them, they sound dangerous, they might very well be. So try to stick to the simple ones that have 5 ingredients or less, the ones that you recognize, that you understand. Jump on over to ewg.org, download the free app, look it up, see if it's safe for you as a human, see if it's safe for the coral reef, because you want to be good to yourself and also good to the environment. I mean, let's face it, coral reefs are awesome. They provide so much life. They help with just the overall health of the planet. And they're super cool to see. Like I was just in Cozumel 2 weeks ago, saw some awesome reef, but it's not as awesome as I remember it because I think too many people are jumping in the water with crappy sunscreens that are blanching it, bleaching it. And I'm sure in Mexico, they don't have that rule. And if they do, nobody's following it, but you should pay attention to what you put on you, because if you're getting in the water, it's what you put on the earth and in the oceans. And our world ocean is so important to our world's health. So pay attention, jump on over to ewg.org. Try to avoid anything that has these dangerous chemicals like formaldehyde, toluene, parabens, phthalates with its PHTHALATES. They're in a lot of nail polishes, hairsprays. They disrupt hormones. A lot of the cosmetics, believe it or not, like holy crap, they have mercury. Like mercury poisoning is super bad. Heavy metal toxicity, it's nasty. And you can get that crap from skin lighteners, from cosmetic products. Also, lead poisoning can come in from cosmetics. And who knew, right? Eye products. If you guys have heard of anything that has coal, kajal, alcohol, surma, tiro, tozali, koali, these all may contain lead. Like, holy crap, who would have thought? Triclosan, talc, all of these things, which talc can have asbestos in there, these can be found in cosmetics. And why? Because like I mentioned, the FDA doesn't closely regulate them. There's actually no law that requires them to approve cosmetics. So really, it's a free-for-all. It is truly a free-for-all. So protect yourself, protect your kids, protect your family. Go to ewg.org, look these things up. Just download the free app. It's super helpful, super useful, super easy to do, and you may avoid cancer, hormone disruption, all kinds of ailments if you avoid that nasty stuff out there. I mean, think about it. Not only cosmetics, sunscreens, lotions, but deodorant. Like, try to avoid anything with aluminum, which is like most of the crap that's out there. Aluminum ain't great for your body to be rubbing on there. You can disrupt all sorts of your endocrine function, your hormones, all sorts of things, all these chemicals that are in there. Like, if you want the safest deodorant out there, it's simple and it's next to free. You can buy a giant 5-pound bag at Costco for a couple of bucks. It's called, drum roll please, Arm & Hammer. The Arm & Hammer, well, it's good for those armpits. You put on some baking soda. That's about as safe as you get. It's effective, albeit it's a little bit messy. I know my wife's complained about it from time to time. It's a little messy. I like to use that, but now there's actually quite a few brands out there. One of them is called Native. Even the Think Sport has a deodorant brand that's pretty conscious for good high-quality products and elements and ingredients. So look for those, Think Sport, Native, and just good old-fashioned Arm & Hammer. Like, pay attention to the stuff that you put on your body, even the stuff that you don't always think about. It's easy. It's simple. Download the free app, ewg.org. Let me know what you're using, what you found, what your favorite products are, things like deodorants, shampoos, and on and on and on. And just check it out on ewg.org. So that's all I wanted to do for now. I just wanted to give a little more information on that awesomeness because it affects us. It affects literally our entire body by what we put on the skin, because it is our largest organ. It is a vehicle, an entry to our bloodstream, like mainline into the bloodstream, those dang nasty chemicals that are in sunscreen. So avoid the benzones, of course, the oxybenzone. I would avoid the avobenzones too. Why not all the benzones, the phthalates, the toluenes, all this stuff? Go to ewg.org, download the free app, and just remember that if you put it on your skin, you might as well be eating it. So if it ain't safe to eat, it's probably not safe for your body. So just wanted to update you with a few more things because it can be simple. It doesn't have to be difficult, but we should pay attention. So love you guys. Check out my Modern Medicine Movement Health and Wellness Facebook group. Email me at modernmedicinemovementpodcast@gmail.com. Be in touch. Ask me questions. Tell me what you want to hear about in the next show. And we'll get there. We'll do it. I can't wait to see you soon in my monthly group, which will be awesome. It'll be amazing. It's going to be a couple of lives a month. We'll have all kinds of new content. I'll answer your questions. It's a VIP super special group and it's super affordable. So tell your friends and family. It'll be coming real soon. I'm also about to get my book out there into the world. It's going to be amazing. So Modern Medicine Movement Health and Wellness Facebook group, modernmedicinemovement.com. Check me out on Facebook, Thomas Hemingway, or Modern Medicine Movement Podcast, or on Instagram at Aloha Surf Doc. Aloha.